Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Good evening, Kevin. How are you, sir?
Let's get to it.
Kevin!
I'm doing wonderful.
I saw a Minion commercial the other day, and I thought of that.
Yeah, you know, I used to pay zero attention to the Minions, and now when I've still not seen. Probably ought to watch a movie, right?
Right.
So, have you seen the movie? I haven't seen the movie.
I have
All
not.
right. Yeah, maybe someday. Maybe tonight. Who knows? Maybe tonight.
Maybe tonight's the night for you.
Right.
The Minion movie.
Minions.
Whatever that movie is.
Well, especially since it's King Kevin, right? Is that what it is?
No,
King Kevin.
I don't know if he's the king. I don't remember. But I just remember the whole, greeting or chant. The whole, Kevin!
Some sort of key player.
Yeah.
May not be king.
That Bew shared with us. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it just popped in my head and I had to say it.
You doing all right?
I'm doing outstanding.
That's good.
Everything's ticking like it's supposed to be, far as we know.
Far as you know.
Yep.
Somebody will tell you at some point whether or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I might as well mention something about that because I have had several people ask me, so any update on, the story that you shared and the experience that you had? There's some updates. We're still trying to figure it out. We're in the process of elimination. There are some known things that are going on that are not necessarily surprises, conditions that previously were not creating problems that might be creating problems now. I know that sounds a little bit like a riddle, but ultimately, I'll throw it out there. I have what's called a PFO, and I've known about this for a while. And a PFO is basically, in layman's terms, a hole in your heart that doesn't heal after birth. We all have holes in our heart called, I think it's called a foramen ovale when you're in the womb. And that's how your body gets oxygenated blood because your lungs aren't working and breathing air while you're in the womb. But shortly after birth, those holes are supposed to close. And for those of us that are in that 25th percentile of the human public out there, it doesn't close all the way.
25%?
25%.
Wow.
Yeah. A whole bunch of people run around with these things and they don't know it. So it's actually kind of cool we talk about this because if you have one and you've not had any problems with it, get it checked regularly because, it looks like mine may have actually created some problems for me in the small stroke variety. Fortunately, mild in nature that were, asymptomatic, and I had no idea when they occurred. So I don't know if that's what happened that day I had the incident with my bike and flop it over in the ditch or not. They can't say for sure because they can't really date them. But anyway, so when this hole doesn't close, then they call it a patent foramen ovale. And I may be totally screwing up the pronunciation of some of that, but I think that's how it's said, and commonly referred to in the medical term of PFO. And it's a known stroke risk because a blood clot can travel through that and obviously create problems with some blood flow. So we're going to fix that hole at some point. So we're working through, eliminating those kinds of things.
I am glad you're on this journey, figuring this out.
The reason I share it is not to put my business out there per se. It's more of an informative thing, right? Because I think as we get older, And actually, probably many times in our lives, we ignore things. And, our bodies try to tell us stuff. And it would have been very easy for me that day to say, you know what, I worked out too hard that morning. I didn't eat enough, and it was just because, my electrolytes were out of balance or something like that. And blow it off. And not gone to the doctor, not done anything about it. And, lo and behold, later have a full-blown stroke. I share that for the benefit of people that are listening to this. Pay attention to what your body's telling you, and make sure you're doing things to take care of yourself. And I realize that I'm somewhat hypocritical in saying that as I'm sitting here talking about stroke and smoking a tobacco pipe, which is one of the known risks for stroke. But we're working on things slowly. But anyways, I just I want to call that out because people need to make sure they're paying attention to what the hell's going on with themselves. And this is a fun life we're living, and get the best out of it by being here as long as you can.
I like what you said about the taking care of things as you get older rather than ignoring it, because you're right. You are exactly right. You sort of get used to this rhythm and this sort of way that you live your life. And then something will come up and you'll just sort of write it off. You'll say, oh, that'll pass, or this will go away. And if it's, around for more than a day or two, you probably ought to take some time to check it out. So I'm glad you did. I'm glad that they are hot on the trail of trying to figure out exactly what it is that's going on with you. And look forward to having you around here for a very long time.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I learned another new word in the medical community the other day, too. Apparently, when there is no known cause for stuff, they just attach the word crypto to it, right?
Really?
So because they can't put their finger on exactly what caused these small strokes, they call them cryptogenic strokes, which means we don't know why or how it happened. We ultimately know how it happened because it was a blood flow issue in the brain. But they don't know how it happened, so they just put it in that category. There's some logical things that may have caused it, and those are the things we're working to eliminate.
Maybe we can add this to your, part of your, alter ego, crypto. I wouldn't say a road name. Not a road name.
No,
it's
definitely not.
Definitely not a road name, but maybe a work name, crypto.
Yeah. Or we could not.
Yeah, crypto. Well, I might start calling you crypto. There we go. Anyhow, there you go.
Yeah. So, thank you for indulging me and listening to that, and hopefully, it rang true in some of the ears that may have heard it, and you're going to make sure that you do something to take care of yourself because you never know. We're not guaranteed tomorrow, and so don't take that stuff for granted.
That's right. There you go.
Which kind of fits with the topic that we're going to be talking about tonight, I believe. Does it not?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
What is the topic?
You're gonna have to make that connection. But yes, I will introduce the topic. I'm going to introduce the topic by telling a story.
All right.
And this is the story. You ready?
Story time with Kevin.
Story time with Kevin. Fireside chat.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my. Yes. No.
Hold on. Let me light the fire. We both just realized at the same damn time the fire was not on. All right. We fixed that problem.
Dang, that was an easy start. I was going to put the wood in there, and everybody thought it was, an actual fire.
Well.
Anyway, now they know.
The gig's up now.
So, from my past, I knew of this gentleman who was a phenomenal athlete, particularly a phenomenal football player. And I knew this person a little bit myself, but not. It was more other members of my family who knew this person. I'm not going to name the name or any of the details because it's not worth it. So this person was one of the probably very, very top tier football players in high school, and was recruited to play at all of the really big Division I, all of the football schools that you know of, the Alabama and the Nebraska and the you name all of the really big football schools in Division I that everybody talks about Texas and Miami and you name it. All of those he was recruited and selected one of them to go play at. And he did. He went to this Division I and had a very successful collegiate football career, outstanding high school career. Certainly one of the best in the state, and one of the best in the nation. Went on to the college glory years. Played well. Was a starter. Did well. I think this person wanted to play in the pros, but didn't get drafted. And there was some kind of on the edge of whether or not he's going to get drafted. And anyway, that was the end.
Right.
All right. Fast forward, Cookie. So that was like 40 years ago. Fast forward to today. This person is now in their 60s and still living their good life. But if you go to things like their social media outlets, Facebook, for example, is one of them. There's a photo of this guy from his college days in his college uniform, celebrating the amazing football career that he had in high school and college. When you see pictures of this guy in social settings, he's wearing his college jersey, and he's got on the wall behind him posters of his college, and he's very much living his glory days. I actually thought recently, as I was preparing for the podcast tonight, about the movie Napoleon Dynamite, which I know we've talked about. And there's his older cousin? No, his older cousin that's living in the past, playing the football days. So, yeah, he's living in the past. To this day, in his 60s, there's not much to his current life, but there's a whole hell of a lot to his past life, and that is what it's all about for him. And that as I started to think about it while preparing for today was kind of sad. And great guy. People in my family still know him. I don't know him. But I just thought, wow, if you've peaked at 20 years old, and that's where you have to keep going back to sort of find your self-worth and empower your ego, it's just a sad commentary. So I wanted to talk about kind of this issue on a larger scale. And the issue is...
I'm going to throw a flag on that for just a second.
What?
So... I understand what you're saying in the story.
I haven't introduced the topic yet, though.
Well, but okay. I'm still going to throw a flag on the story.
All right.
So I understand what you're saying with the story and why you're telling the story in light of the topic that we're about to discuss.
Yep.
And at the same time, the thing that really jumped out at me is that you said you don't know this guy. You haven't talked with him. Personally.
Right.
But just I want to make sure I understand this clearly. So the perception or the situation with him living in the past, that's been related by other people?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not just a perception based on photographs and so on. It's people that know him.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Thank you. That's a great clarification. He very much continues to live in the past.
Okay. That's cool.
That is what he's all about. And, all football season, all year long, he's talking about his alma mater. He's talking about the glory days. He's talking, it's all about what could have been, what was, all of that. So, yes. Anyway, there's something to that. And I wanted to talk about the past is the past, accept it for what it is. So that's point one.
Right.
Point two is you need to live in a world where there's something about the future that's pulling you in a very positive way forward, that's pulling you into the future so that you can get excited about. And point three is live in the moment. So accept the past, get excited about the future, but live in the moment. Boy, that was a long and winding road to get to this.
And we got there.
And we got there.
Yeah.
So
it's a great title.
That's what I wanted.
And it's a great subject.
Okay.
And I think one of the problems with our society is I think when we get to a certain age, people tend to make this mental shift that our best years are behind us.
Right.
And that's just not true.
Right.
Unless that's the way you think. Because if that's the way you think, then it probably is true.
Right.
So I would encourage people to, don't get unsettled when you start receiving the stalking mail from AARP. Because I think, excuse me, they know, and I think they start like right at your 50th birthday or maybe even before that. And they start stalking the hell out of you.
Right.
But don't let that be the time that all of a sudden you realize, oh, wow, maybe my best days are behind me. I don't think that's true unless you decided so.
So here's a question that I would like to ask you and others to think about and to ponder. Do you live with a sense of fear, or do you live with a sense of anxiety? Either one of those, fear or anxiety in the moment, today. When you go through your day, are you anxious? Are you fearful? Is that
your prevailing state of being, either one of those?
Is that your prevailing state of being?
Because I imagine you have fear or anxiety about certain things every now and then, but if that's your prevailing state of being, then that's a concern.
From time to time, of course, you're going to have those feelings. But if they are predominant in where you're at, then that means you're even living in the past or you're living in the future. Because those are the things that cause the fear and anxiety.
Yep.
You're not living in the moment. And if those are kind of warning signs to you, they're kind of like saying, hey, they're knocking on your head saying, I'm trying to get your attention, and I want you to deal with whatever it is that you're fearful of or whatever that you're anxious about, so you can deal with it, so you can get back in the moment and live your life. And that is a key part of it.
Yeah.
And as you know, and as I know, because I lived it for way too long, a lot of times the things that happened to you in the past, whether you had control over them or you didn't, or they were mistakes that you made, or it was something else that somebody did to you, or it was an environment that you grew up in, if you spend all of your time thinking about that rather than just accepting it and dealing with it, learning from it and moving forward, that can be incredibly just sapping of energy and creativity and goodness today at this moment. And that is not the way to live your life.
Absolutely not. And I love that you said move forward, because it's not a moving on thing, because there's things that you're in your past that potentially well, no doubt there's things in your past that you're proud of. I'm sure there's things in your past that you aren't proud of, maybe even ashamed of. There may be traumatic things that occurred to you in your past that were outside of your control at that particular point in time. And you can't undo those things. So you have to acknowledge them, you have to accept them, and you have to move forward. And for as long as you want to sit around and make excuses for why your current situation is the way it is based on things that have happened to you in the past, you're stuck. You're not you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. You're either living or you're dying. And when you're allowing the past to control you like that, you're absolutely moving backwards. You can't move forward when you're living in the past.
Yeah, that's it. I think the metaphor you used in the past is looking through the rearview mirror, right?
Right.
When you're driving your car, riding your motorcycle, and you're looking in the rearview mirror, looking behind you.
Right.
If you're doing that, you ain't.
Bad shit's going to happen
right.
in front of you because you're not paying attention. You're going to miss opportunities.
Your mind is split.
Right.
You don't have that sole focus in the moment. And there were a couple things as I was thinking about this and doing the research. So one side of the past, dealing with the past first. Let's just deal with that for a second.
All right.
One thing is you grew up in an environment, you grew up around a group of people, you grew up in a circumstance, much of which you had nothing to do with. Things were done to you, things were said to you, people did things, and you did things as well. You
Right.
made decisions, you did things, you did good, you did bad, you did all of these things. But one of the prevalent themes that is out there in the literature, and I just want to address it quickly, is there's all these people that want to be nice, and they're trying to tell you this, and they're saying it's not your fault. It's not your fault. The things that happened in the past are not your fault. It's not your fault. And I'm thinking to myself, realistically, that's a cop-out.
Right.
Sometimes it
Some
is
of
your
it might
fault.
be,
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Sometimes it is your fault. And you need to acknowledge that. You need to accept it. You need to learn from it. You need to grow from it. And the whole Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever one of their 12 steps is, I don't even know what the name of it is, but you try to, go apologize for the things you've done in the past where you hurt people.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying live there, stay there. I'm saying deal with it.
Right.
Learn what you've done. Learn from what you've done. Go to the people that you've hurt and do what you need to do. But also, there are other things who have legitimately lived with real trauma or real hardship or real difficulty that they were thrown into, or that came heaping upon them,
right,
that they had nothing to do with. In any case, the key is, as you said, the past is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do to change it. All you can do is take from that experience all of the things that are going to make you better today and going forward, and learn from them, but accept it is what it is. So that's point number one. Accept the past for what it is and move forward.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, don't walk around with regrets. The past is what the past is. And I've said before, are you happy? And I ask you the question, are you happy with who you are today? Are you satisfied with that person that's looking back at you in the mirror on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Because if you can answer yes to that question, then you have accepted the past, and you should be thankful for the past. All the good shit, all the bad shit, everything that happened to you in the past, because that's all part of the recipe that created the you that you are today.
I love, you've said that many times, and I love when you do say that, because you are exactly right. And if you just kind of take the chains off of yourself and really look at yourself and say, am I happy with who I am? Am I capable of being an amazing person today, right now, because of, all of the things I've been through? When you can honestly answer yes, and I think most people can answer yes, if they let go of the guilt and the shame and the problems, then that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So here's a quote, and you'll love this.
Oh.
Because of who said it.
Okay.
I have no doubt. And I saw this in a movie yesterday, and the title of the movie escapes me all of a sudden. Boom, gone. Anyways, here's a quote. To live in the past is to die in the present.
Huh. That's a great quote. Is there more to it, or is that it?
No, that's it. Any idea who said that? You want to guess?
Denzel Washington.
Negative.
Oh.
Bill Belichick.
Oh, yeah. That's another good one. I do love.
Yeah?
If you give me 5 guesses, I would have got that.
Okay. All right.
You gave me 1.
That's a great quote.
It is a great quote.
And that is so true.
And why is that? Why is that true?
Because you're letting the past control the present.
Yeah.
And you're not living in a mindful way and really enjoying the present experience that you have, because you're allowing the negative influences, the negative impact that the past has had on you to show up and reside with you on a daily basis. And you need to make a different decision, I think.
That's it. Precisely. All right. Point number 2, which is be excited about the future. So you've now accepted the past. All right, we've made some awesome progress. I'm ready to go forward and be a better person. Now, where am I going? Where am I heading?
I have to ask you this, because we're normally, when people talk about these different times in their life, they say past, present, and future. But you're going a little out of order, or are you?
I
am. You're going past, future, and then we're going to talk about the present.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I think most important of those 3 sort of time frames that are part of our lives, the current moment is the most important, and I want to leave it last to emphasize.
Like that softball,
most.
Like that little underhand pitch I threw to you.
Boom! It was a home run. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You are welcome.
Yeah. So past, future. Okay. Thing about the future is, Brian and I have talked about it 100 times at least. Maybe more. The whole thing about goal setting, about describing a desired end state, about having dreams, about having desires about who you are and where you're going and what you want to accomplish and what is your calling and what is God calling you to do, and in the core of your being, who are you and what is your meaning and your purpose. All of that stuff is important for you to think about, and you need to spend time doing that, thinking about that. Why? because that will pull you into the future. That will get you up in the morning, excited about where you're going, and that's important.
Right, because it'll make the present a whole lot more fun to be in.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. So that was it. I just wanted to emphasize that. However, and there are some people who do this as well, don't pass up today looking for tomorrow.
Right.
Because then you're defeating the purpose as well. Use that out there, spend the time there, set the goals, focus on the desired end state, let that pull you into the future, but don't stay there. Because then all of a sudden today is gone, and you've all been thinking about where you're headed.
Yeah, I think of it like this. Don't let a yesterday or tomorrow ruin a today.
There you go. I don't know if you noticed how I moved my big bicep, hit this, and it kind of rattled all over the place. I don't know if you saw that.
No, pretty much missed that, I think.
So, being present in the moment. You've learned from the past. You're being pulled into the future because you're excited about your dreams and your goals. But right now, in the moment, right here, in this moment with you on this podcast, be here, be all in, be excited about what it is that you can do, how you can pour your heart and soul into this moment to get the very best. Because the truth is, that's truly all we ever have is right now.
It's the only thing that's guaranteed is right now. And the only reason it's guaranteed is because it's right now and you're in it.
It's right now. It's right now. Absolutely.
Yeah. So something we talked about in an earlier podcast, and it was your topic, and I think it's really important to call it out here, is that whole concept of being still.
Yeah.
And I think that can certainly help you maximize your experience in the present when you practice that.
Yeah.
Just be still and enjoy what's going on around you. And open your senses up to take it all in, and look at things differently. Maybe just shift your focus a little bit, and I tell you, it'll be a different experience, no doubt.
No, you're right. Sometimes there's nothing more valuable than just doing that very thing. I mean, I got nothing else to add to that other than I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, and then the whole, the wellness piece, right? Taking care of yourself, that's all in the present.
That's in the present.
And, we talk about things like, exercise and nutrition and sleep and, all of those things that we sometimes put on a back burner when we're younger and don't pay enough attention to. You're going to pay for that shit later.
Yeah.
In all likelihood, you're probably going to pay for that shit later.
Yeah.
So, think about that as you're traveling this journey we call life. Make sure you're enjoying the ride and doing that preventive maintenance along the way.
Yep. So there's one more thing I want to say about being in the present, which probably all of us to one degree or another have suffered from. And that is, we get so caught up in thinking about what other people are going to think about us. Or we get caught up in trying to be somebody that we're not. Like my boss is going to think I'm really great if I do something that's completely inconsistent with who I am, but I know that that's what he or she wants, kind of thing. There's nothing more difficult, there's nothing more frustrating than trying to be somebody other than yourself. And my point is, it's so much easier just to be yourself.
Yeah.
And put your unique value out there to the world. Just relax. You are who you are, and be yourself in the moment. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to impress other people. People like things that are unique.
Yeah.
And so you're unique. Be yourself. Be that person.
Yeah. Be who you are, and don't worry about what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
And do it. I've heard people say that they spent their entire life becoming comfortable in their own skin. Well, don't wait. Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Yeah. So that's it, Brian. I just wanted to spend a few minutes on that, talking about the past, the future, and the present.
If you're not the coolest person then maybe you need to do some work on yourself.
That's a good point.
That's
a good way to say that, actually.
And I don't mean that in a braggadocious or conceited. I think it, think about that. If you're not the coolest person why aren't you?
Yeah. And you should be. And you are.
Yeah.
What do people do to go experience something different and unique and one of a kind? People will spend money far and wide to do that kind of thing. You are that person. I am. You are. We all are. Be the best you that you can be in the moment. Pour your heart and soul into it. That's what it's all about right there.
Absolutely. Stop letting your todays be robbed by yesterdays and tomorrows.
Yep.
That's pretty damn powerful. That's that's an outstanding subject that you came up with. Good topic, man.
Well,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you. Yeah. Yeah. You come up with some good ones as well.
Every now and then.
Every now and then.
Fun stuff, man. Never a boring conversation. Always something good comes out of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's a theme, right? The theme here is passing on the wisdom of the ages and helping people live happier, more joyful, and productive lives.
Yeah.
And is there anything bad, anything in that statement you wouldn't want more of?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And pay attention to what you're doing right as well.
And do more of it. Yeah, repeat it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What are you doing right? What's working well? Do more of that. Watch how your life and your mentality improve.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you again.
Absolutely.
Great conversation.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, let's
Ready?
do it.
Dun,
Let's
dun,
do
dun,
it.
dun, dun. No matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride and live in the present. Maximize it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.